You've all heard about sinkholes in the media lately, and they seem to be popping up everywhere.
I know. Earlier this month in Chicago, a sinkhole swallowed 3 cars and 1 person who had to be taken to the hospital. Now, just last month in Florida, a sinkhole opened up underneath a man's bedroom, swallowing him whole. Family members say they heard him scream, but crews never were able to find his body. And in 2009, a 15-foot sinkhole in downtown Wetumpka swallowed a car, and it kept growing. It grew 10 times the initial size over that time period. So could a sinkhole like those happen where you live? Experts say in our area is at risk.
Alabama is among 6 states nationwide where sinkhole damage is most common. Tonight, reporter Brian Henry takes an in-depth look at the local sinkhole problem and how you can protect your home. It's a story you'll see only on WSFA 12 News.
Richard Moultrie is shoveling up more dirt to fill up a sinkhole. Not just one hole, but 4 underneath his mom's deck in Union Springs.
I'm a little upset about it and mystified because I don't know if we're going to wake up one morning, come out here, the whole back porch be gone.
What's gone, and apparently for good, is Richard's lawnmower, 60 feet below.
The whole lawnmower was gone, vanished.
That's the sinkhole that I'm worried about.
J.P. Pouncey points to what appears to be a sinkhole in the making behind the apartment complex she manages in Prattville.
And if I don't find out some way to stop it, some child may fall down this hill.
Sinkholes are common in Alabama, and they come in all sizes. Most of them occur in North and South Alabama, not so much in the central part of the state, and there's a reason for that.
We're looking at sinkhole locations.
Dr. Terry Weinmiller is an associate professor in geography and runs a research lab at AUM.
To the underlying geology. You have to have a karstic sort of environment for that to happen. Karst is where you have limestone underlying the soil.
Limestone is porous, much like Swiss cheese. Mix in a drought or a lot of rain and you'll have the perfect ingredient for a collapse.
As rainwater falls through the atmosphere, it picks up carbon dioxide and forms a weak carbonic acid. Those particular water sources drain through fractures and fissures in the soil and erode the stone, the underlying stone, slowly.
On this digitized map, the red dots show the sinkhole locations in Alabama, 6,000 sinkholes. Notice most of them are in North and South Alabama, with only a handful in places like Macon, Pike, Barber, and Crenshaw counties. Keep in mind the red dots represent the documented holes.
There are probably a quantity of...
Dr. Weinmiller says there may be a few more out there we don't know about. The biggest one so far can be found a little more than 2 miles from downtown Calera. Walk down this well-traveled trail and turn right at the pink ribbon and you'll find it. It happened in 1972. It is still massive.
Nothing that you don't forget.
People like Hilton Shirey found it spooky when he was a teenager. Shirey is now the city's fire marshal.
The magnitude of it, it was the size, the depth.
When this sinkhole happened near Calera, it measured some 300 feet across and at least 120 feet deep. Today, as you can see behind me, the hole is overgrown with tall pines.
Definitely couldn't throw a rock across it. I mean, it was that big.
While the Calera hole occurred in the woods, sometimes in Moultrie's case, the ground can give way in your own backyard. The Alabama Department of Insurance in Montgomery says the insurance industry does not typically insure sinkhole damage.
Just because it's difficult to, to predict where they are, it's a type of risk that is kind of rare.
You can, however, add the coverage onto your homeowner's insurance for an extra charge. Most carriers offer the additional coverage.
Let's say you have a $200,000 home. It will cost you maybe between $30 and $70 to buy the coverage.
We're told local governments don't get involved in fixing sinkholes if they're on private property. It's a homeowner's responsibility.
And once you get down that hill...
While J.P. Pouncey keeps a wary eye on the small depression in the ground, Richard Moultrie is beginning to wonder if this corner of the world will ever stop sinking. Moultrie plans to keep his mound of dirt nearby.
Yes, I lose some sleep because I'm constantly worried and concerned about it.
Worried his mom's house could be next. In Bullitt County, Brian Henry, WSFA 12 News.
Remember this, the huge collapse on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville a few years ago. It happened in front of Chick-fil-A. Experts say that was not a sinkhole by definition. A corroded pipe caused part of the road to collapse, but heavy rains did contribute to the 20-foot crater.
It was a very large inconvenience. Fortunately, we had a lot of very understanding customers and commuters that were able to find some alternate routes. We had a very good contractor come on scene get it done in a very quick fashion. And also had to give a lot of credit to the owners of the Premier Place Shopping Center, because some traffic did go through their shopping center instead of going around the detour.
Now, the repair job at the time cost the city around $500,000, and it took slightly more than a week.
Developing story out of San Ysidro, where crews, they are still working at this hour to stop a sinkhole from spreading, a massive water main break there. 10 News reporter Itika Malanas has been on top of this story since 4 o'clock. She is live with a serious motorcycle crash that happened before the busy street caved in. Itika.
Yeah, crews are still out here with heavy equipment. Take a look behind me as they fix this. Just got an update from the water department. Everyone has water again, except for those on the 200 block of San Ysidro Boulevard, and they may not have any until the morning. People who live nearby told me this may have been brewing for days. The water main break because they felt the ground rumbling, but had no idea what it was. A giant sinkhole in the middle of San Ysidro's busiest street Monday evening.
It's very bad. It's killing every business on the street. The lady next door to me, who has an insurance business, everybody.
Several had to close hours earlier than usual because police shut down a few streets off San Ysidro Boulevard, making it impossible for traffic to get through. But before that mess, Ruth Gonzalez told me her son Ron rode his motorcycle over what appeared to be a small pothole at Cottonwood Road. She says when he saw it, he pulled up on his motorcycle's handlebars, trying to avoid it, but he ended up crashing. The 34-year-old was taken to Scripps Hospital in Chula Vista with back and internal injuries, and he's lost all feeling in one arm. I noticed several city water crews scrambling around the area, desperately looking for the right valve to shut off the gushing water. So I asked the water department spokesman about it.
Apparently there were some valves that did not work when they tried to shut them down. And so because of that, they went much farther back down the streets and shut off other valves.
It took more than 3 hours and a lot of drilling to finally stop the hemorrhaging of water from a 6-inch concrete pipe, most likely installed about 50 years ago. Now, those without water probably won't have any until tomorrow morning. A closer look at exactly what this looks like up here on San Ysidro Boulevard. Crews say that they won't be able to fix this broken pipe until other crews from SDG&E and Cable and the gas company is out here to fix this. Be sure to check in with 10 News starting at 4:30 a.m. for the latest developments. We're live in San Ysidro.
One could be opening up right underneath you. Sinkholes are destroying property, homes, and businesses all over Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they really are, and the damage can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair. New at 6 tonight, News Channel 5's Adam Gassimi shows us why it's happening here and the never-ending battle to stop them.
They seem to be popping up everywhere, from a highway in Clarksville earlier this week to a neighborhood in Franklin.
We just finished one hole here and it's a lot deeper.
Sinkholes seem to be keeping crews busy all over Middle Tennessee.
2 years ago, I only looked at about 12 all year. I've looked at 13 just in the last 2 weeks.
Kenny Williams, Vice President of United Structural Systems, believes it has a lot to do with extreme weather. And as state geologists point out, people are paying more attention after a 20-foot sinkhole swallowed a Florida man and his entire bedroom while he was sleeping.
Everybody that's had some kind of a hole or depression, they're now calling. They want it checked out.
Williams will soon work on this sinkhole that opened up behind this home.
It is scary.
It's apparently so unstable the homeowner cut down a tree.
This is probably larger than the average.
And suddenly found it removed the logs automatically.
And he threw them in there. And after a rain, they disappeared.
If left alone, it could eventually damage the house's foundation, but won't likely swallow someone, and it's all because of our region's geology. Both Tennessee and Florida are prone to sinkholes, but geologists tell us there is a difference. In Florida, sand is in the soil, so sinkholes happen very quickly and can be very deep. But here in Tennessee, we have clay in the soil, meaning when sinkholes happen, they can happen slowly and be very shallow. As they battle Mother Nature, who keeps opening up new entrances to caves and caverns feet below the surface.
We're going to make sure the water still gets to the cavern, but it doesn't take any soil with it.
In Nashville, Adam Gassimi, News Channel 5 HD.
Tennessee is one of the only states, by the way, that requires insurance companies to cover sinkhole damage, but it can often lead to lawsuits. You may already be covered or need to purchase a separate policy. If you want some information on resources to help out and see some pictures of other sinkholes, we have them posted for you on News Channel 5.
Crews are working through the night to repair part of I-81 where a sinkhole appeared today. For about a 2-mile stretch near Fairfield in Rockbridge County, the sinkhole has shut down one lane of northbound traffic. James Girardi has more on this from our Lynchburg newsroom. James, you were out there. We've certainly seen bigger sinkholes, but there's so much traffic on 81. This is a big deal.
Sinkholes can be a scary scenario, consuming everything and anything in their path. VDOT officials say we're lucky tonight that this one wasn't any larger, just inches away from moving traffic. 15 feet wide and nearly 20 feet deep, this sinkhole along the shoulder of I-81 appeared beneath a stormwater drain. It destroyed much of the piping but spared the road. Traffic was reduced to one lane on this busy stretch of highway as construction crews and VDOT officials determined the next step.
We wanted to be cautious and move traffic away from that right lane, and it's not into the right lane, but it's very close.
VDOT construction manager George Bezold says the part closest to the road will be paved. The entire hole eventually filled in with rock and gravel.
Paving crews are on site. The excavation crews are on their way. We've already removed guardrail in preparation for that work.
Sinkholes are not uncommon here. For more than 2 years now, crews have worked to widen this 7-mile stretch of I-81, and in that time, 3 holes have appeared.
It's just a natural phenomenon for our karst area in Rockbridge County.
VDOT officials aren't entirely sure what precipitated this sinkhole. One guess, heavy rain, something Rockbridge County did see this weekend. Officials are hoping it will be completely filled by Wednesday morning. Live in the Lynchburg newsroom, James Girardi.
We're tracking some damage yesterday's wet weather left behind in our area.
NBC Charlotte reporter Katie Killen is live for us in Cornelius, where all that rain is making for a big mess. Good morning, Katie.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right. Crews have been out here in Cornelius working all night long to fix a sinkhole caused by all of that rain we saw all weekend. Check out some video we shot just a couple of hours ago. This is that sinkhole. As I mentioned, crews were working along Old Canal Street last night when the ground suddenly gave way. Of course, sinkholes not uncommon when we get a lot of rain. Now, crews say it could be a couple of hours or so before they're finished. And believe it or not, when that sinkhole collapsed, it actually cut the power out here to a neighborhood called Antiquity here in Cornelius. I just talked to a couple of residents. They're moving about this morning. They're frustrated. They say crews have been actually working on that hole for a while now, and I guess all of the rain over the weekend really exacerbated it and made it even worse, and now they're just wondering when their power is going to come back on. So hopefully that will happen for them soon. As far as the weather, of course, the rain has stopped maybe for just a couple of minutes out here, but that's good news because it really has been raining out here all morning long. Live in Cornelius, Katie Killen,
on University Parks Drive near the Clifton Robinson Tower in Waco got an unpleasant surprise late this afternoon. Just look at this sinkhole that opened up in the road. It is 5 to 6 feet deep, nearly 8 feet across. Now, we've heard of no injuries or vehicle damage. Utility crews blame a sewer line failure. They say they're working to get the water out of it, and there were no sanitary sewer overflows to report. But as you can see, the westbound lanes of University Parks were heavily damaged, and drivers are urged now to take the 4th and 5th Street exit to get to the downtown area.